Yes, that's right. The corny ass cinematic you just saw is the brand new Nightmare Hero who will be having a bond skill with Hex, Twyla. Now, Twyla will actually be coming this month if things end up going, the way they should, which they seem to a bit more recently with some new banners we've been getting. So it is safe to assume she will be coming out for Halloween. So in about a couple weeks. And she's very, very good. Now, I do have a semi confirmed date for her, as you can see with Hex. And her and Hex are both going to be on a banner closer to not Valentine's Day, Halloween. Okay, so that is when you can expect her, and she's very, very good. She gets a bond skill, Hex gets a bond skill, and it's really, really sick. Also, I was asked by a couple people if she is a limited hero. She is not a limited hero. She will be in the pool. She just will be having her banner with Hex around Halloween. She is not a limited hero. We still only know Kagiri as the next limited hero, okay? Just to clear that up. Now, this will be the first video in like a kind of mini series I'm going to do where I'm going to be covering a lot of leaked heroes. I have 5 of them to cover. 2 of them are on test server, including her, but 3 of them, and maybe even more if they end up coming, are not going to be revealed anywhere. So that's going to be very, very hyped. So this is the first one. The next one will also be coming out today, so be ready for that. Now, Twyla, as you can see, you got the banner art, you got the kind of event art right here, and she looks pretty interesting. Her cinematic kind of weird as hell. You could replay it if you would like, but here she is. Definitely mommy vibes as usual. And here is the kit. Now, I will just preface by saying she is really, really good. She reads very, very good, and I'm very excited for her. Before we get into the stats, which is what I usually start with, we're just going to go quickly into the ranges, the factions, stuff like that. So she is a Nightmare Fighter. I know it kind of sucks that we already have so many Nightmare Fighters, but objectively, Nightmare is the best faction for a fighter, so this does make her better. Now, she does have the worst range for fighters, which is only 1 tile. Obviously, certain fighters like Jira are still really good with that, but it does kind of lower her viability a bit. But for stuff like Guild Boss 2, which you're going to see later, she's going to be amazing. Now, her stats are going to be really, really high. HP is 28,000, which is ridiculous. We got a pretty average defense, magic resistance, and cost at 17. This block is going to be only 2, I'm pretty sure. This is a typo or kind of a bug in the code, so you could just ignore that. And the attack is insanely high at 6,376. Kind of similar like what Kagiri is going to have when he ends up finally coming out. And the higher attack, the better, obviously. This is a very high attack. I know fighters already have pretty high attack already, but this is very good. Max rage is very, very low, so you're going to get a bunch of ults going pretty fast. It is at 700, and then the rage regen is pretty normal. She is a fighter. She has multi-strike attack, damage escalating, and burst damage, and it's really cool. Now we're going to start off with the talent, which is each basic attack launched has a 25% chance to trigger Deranged Blade. Now Deranged Blade deals 20% damage 12 times consecutively, and inflicts bleed for 5 seconds. Now, if you think about it, 25% chance on average, it'll trigger 1 time every 4 attacks. So if you build her a lot of attack speed, this is going to be very, very fast. So every 4 attacks, you're going to be doing 12 hits. And every 5 hits, you're doing about 100% damage if you add it together. So it's equivalent of doing over 2 hits, right? And it also inflicts bleed. Bleed also allows you, since she does piercing damage, to do more damage with any piercing damage types, any normal damage types. Sorry, she's normal, not piercing. Same thing, really. That's a very, very good ability. And the trigger chance of Deranged Blade is increased by 5% each time the ultimate is cast, up to 15%. So she's going to have a 40% chance after you cast the ultimate a lot, which is going to be a reoccurring theme through this kit. Now her basic attack deals 100% damage to one enemy. I'm pretty sure it goes up to 120% when you skill her. And then her manual ultimate is, when activated, increases damage by 50% and attack speed by 20%, granting deranged blade an extra 6 instances of damage, lasting for 20 seconds, deals 200% 2 times to one enemy immediately. So the way this works is you trigger her ultimate, she goes bam, bam, does double damage as, her basic would, twice, immediately. And then every single time she attacks, her deranged blade is going to be 18 instead of 12. So she's doing 20% damage 18 times. That is very, very strong. And she's going to be meta for sticks probably because of it. And also in her ult, her attack speed increasing will allow it to be triggered more. And it's going to be really, really sick. And every time you trigger it, you're going to get to trigger that deranged blade even more, which is sick. Now, her first passive is, after not dealing damage for 2 seconds, increases Rage Regen auto by 20. This effect is removed upon dealing damage. So essentially, when there isn't an enemy in the way, when she's not attacking an enemy, she's going to be building up her ult faster than usual. Auto rage in this game is essentially, it's your passive rage. It relies on literally nothing except for the hero being placed down, and it will build that amount of rage every second. That's how Rage Regen Auto works. This is going to let you cycle her ultimate a ton and get those passive stacks going. Now, Bloody Reprisal is the other passive, which is every time the ultimate is triggered, grants an extra 10% defense penetration during the next ultimate, and it stacks up to 80% defense penetration. So when you're triggering this, she essentially becomes Ground Silas. That's what it is, which is really good. And this adds another layer to that. Every time you click her ult, she becomes stronger. She will be amazing for boss fights. Amazing, amazing, amazing hero for boss fights. And 80% defense penetration is nothing to sneeze at. She's attacking a ton, getting a lot of consecutive hits. Really, really, really sick kit there. And her bond skill goes even one step further, where when you have Hex, you unlock it. But this is actually the first bond skill in the game that works this way. If you don't know, bond skills in this game, when it comes to Salazar Kneza, or Honora Yimmerit, or Silas Vierna, the entire effect is only triggered when you have the hero on your account. They do not need to be placed together. They do not need to be in the same team together or roster or anything. They just always work together. But the way that Twyla and Hex will work is they have components to their bond skill that makes it so you need them both placed down. Now, I will show the Hex bond skill very, very soon, but as you can see here, reduces Twyla's first deployment cost by 6, so she will be 11 to place her down immediately. Really, really decent there. It's not game breaking, but it's decent. And then each time Hex draws a card, which means he has to be placed down with her, Twyla permanently increases crit damage by 5%, up to 60% crit damage. Now that is very, very interesting. And Hex's bond skill, which really sucks, honestly, I'll put it on the screen. Essentially, every time he triggers his invisibility, when he's about to die, he triggers his invisibility, he's going to get a 40% shield, and then he also has a smaller deployment cost. So, pretty basic-ass bond skill. You are only going to use that bond skill for Twyla. Luckily, they both will be very, very good units. And Hex, believe it or not, is still good in stuff like Boss 2. So this is going to be a solid bond skill, but it is not game breaking. I would put it below Lust Arrogance. I would put it below Silas Vierna. Although it's still better than like Vierna's bond skill, let's be real. Like the one that Vierna gets, because she barely gets anything. But yeah, so that is the kit. Really, really interesting synergy where she's attacking, gaining attack speed, getting deranged blades off. Every time she ultimates, she goes through defense. She does extra hits more often. You know, she has really solid stats. And although her range kind of sucks, you could probably use her as a tanky unit, which is really sick. So she is going to be amazing, amazing, amazing for Guild Boss 2. I think she will be amazing, amazing, amazing for Guild Boss 1. I think Sticks, she has a lot of usage. I think she will be really strong in Boreas Codex as well. Any boss content or single target content where you can kind of be up in their face, she's going to be really, really good. Now, her Awakenings, her A1, is really, really solid. After triggering the ultimate 4 times, which is the way she works, is something you are going to be doing anyways if you're using her. It increases every single instance of the ranged blade damage to 30%. Think about that a little bit. So let's say you trigger her ultimate. You're doing that defense penetration. You have a 40% chance every basic attack to do 18 hits. Instead of 20%, you're doing 30% damage 18 times consecutively. That's really good. Like you're doing 50% more damage, which is ridiculous. Like this is a very, very strong A1. This is like the type of thing that's like a Lust A5, you know? So this is going to be a must-have here. Now her A2 is attack plus 300. Really decent A2, but her base attack's already high enough. A3 ultimate duration plus 5 seconds. Solid, but not really that worth going for. A4 penetration, probably one of the better A4s in the game. Penetration is very good. And then A5 is kind of a Valeria-like thing. It's upon taking fatal damage for the first time, becomes immune to death for 6 seconds, and increases damage by 100%. Not bad, definitely not worth going for. Now, that is Twyla, the Halloween hero. I think she's pretty cool. I think she has a lot of viability, a lot of potential, and I think she'll be a sick unit. But let me know your thoughts. Don't go off of what I'm saying. Do you think that she has a place in this game? Are you excited? I am slightly disappointed the Hex Bond skill is not better, but realistically, does Hex need to get better? Hell frickin' no. He does not need to be better. Let's be real, that would be game breaking. But yeah, so, I mean, Twyla's coming this month, most likely, so stay tuned for that. Now, as we kind of glimpse into the next video being released today, here is the hero, and get hyped for more cultist love, which is sorely needed. But aside from that, this is all I got for y'all. That is Twyla. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe. And Destined signing out.